Alright, part 3, JC the Sniper's review, the Smith & Wesson Model 4013. We're talking about simplicity of use, and like I'm saying, it's just a pain to field strip this thing, because you got to hold it back here, and you got to pop this this thing out like so, pull it out, go through cocking and decocking the weapon, which if you have on safe will automatically decock when you let it forward. It's just a pain, and then you can eventually slide this off, and then to put it back on you got to shove other pieces back in there, you got to hold it back again and push that thing back in there. It's just really difficult, and it tears up your hands because of all the stuff sticking out trying to hold the slide back. So I really don't like it. I hate field stripping the thing, whereas I can take my Glock and I can field strip it in 2 seconds and I'm done. You know, that's all it takes to field strip my Glock. I'll field strip on a Glock on camera because it's so easy. I probably can't even field strip that Smith & Wesson on camera just because things are in my way. I mean, it's hard. It's a bear. So I don't like it. It's a big pain. I think they really missed on that design element. And I don't like safeties just because I think they're a pain. And I wouldn't use the safety on this weapon. I would load the weapon, rack the slide, use the safety to drop the hammer, because that's the only way you can do it, snap the safety off, and then you've got a long double action pull in order to fire the weapon. And there's no exposed hammer, so there's nothing that can get hit to fire the thing off. So, you know, that nice long double action pull is what will protect your weapon from discharging. Similar to the way you'd carry your Glock loaded and ready to go, because you've got that striker fire thing going on where it won't go off. I'd carry the Makarov in the same way. Loaded, round in the chamber, and then decock it and then leave the safety off. So I would really never use the safety on this except for the decocking function. Another thing I hate about this weapon is this right here. As you can see, this is a double action weapon and the hammer is not traveling back as I'm squeezing the trigger. That's because this weapon has a magazine disconnect, which means you have to have a magazine in here in order to get the hammer to work. You can see there, now the trigger is functioning properly because there's a magazine in there, and you can see the hammer start to come back. I hate that personally, because what happens if, you know, say you're shooting and well, you're in a defensive situation and you're shooting and you accidentally, you know, maybe squeeze this a little bit much and the magazine pops down, but you've still got one round in here that you could fire that could potentially save your life. You pull that trigger and it just does this, and you're sitting there and you don't know what's happening while your weapon's not firing, because this magazine has just popped down just a little bit and it won't allow the weapon to fire. So I don't care for that. Also, you know, say that you've got 8 rounds in here, and say and one in the chamber. Say you've fired 8 rounds, you have 1 round remaining, and you're in some sort of defensive encounter. Or if you're using this for police work, you're in some sort of, you know, encounter with a criminal. You got 1 round left in the chamber, you're going to reload. So you still have a round left in the chamber. You take that mag out, you're getting ready to pull a round back in, criminal comes around the corner. Nothing happens, because you don't have a magazine in there. You have to reload your magazine first, and then you can fire the round, even though you have a round in the chamber still. That doesn't happen with the Glock. If you've got a round in the chamber, you're cocked like this. You can take the magazine out, you can still fire it. Same for the Makarov. Round in the chamber, no magazine in there, you can see the hammer coming back, because it will fire without a magazine in. And I think magazine disconnects are just stupid. I can't think of a good reason for a magazine disconnect. You know, if you follow proper firearm safety clear your weapon, you'll never have a problem with, you know, oh no, there's a round in my chamber and not a mag and I didn't realize it. Because you don't point it at someone and pull the trigger unless you intend to kill them. So I don't understand the reason for magazine disconnects, and I think they're retarded. I hate them. So kind of frustrated by that magazine disconnect. for defensive purposes. So that's one other reason I wouldn't use this as a defensive handgun. Accessories are limited. You know, you can get some things, I'm sure, grip accessories perhaps, stuff of that nature, but you've got no light rail, so if you're going to use this as for home defense or something, you can't really put a laser or a light on it like you can with the Glock. And you know, SIGs or the Beretta M9A1, you can put lights on all those. You can't with the Smith & Wesson Model 4013. So I don't care for that either. So as for accessories, there's just not that many. There are things like the Bobus paddle holsters for this. You know, you can there's a fairly wide variety of holsters, so that's not a problem. It's just the lights and stuff that you can't really get, which I'm not a big fan of. So overall, it's a decent firearm. I think it's a little bit chunky, a little bit large for a concealed carry weapon. I know there's people out there that carry 1911s with them every day. I'm not one of those people. I do carry a Glock 19, and it's a little bit larger handgun than a lot of people will carry, but I don't think I'd go this big. So it's a little bit big. It's kind of a brick. It's a little bit heavy, 30 ounces unloaded, so that's kind of heavy when we can get a Glock 19 fully loaded for 30 ounces. Firepower is limited, but okay. For a 1911 style handgun, it would be good. 8+1, so that's standard for a 1911. So, you know, it's not good round capacity, especially when there are ones out there holding 14 or 15 rounds, but it's not terrible either. Durability and reliability are good. Accuracy is good. Ergonomics are okay. Magazine release is fine. Trigger is good. I like the checkering up here, and you know, fairly good traction on the frame. Hate the slide release because it just doesn't work very well. And I'm not a big fan of the slide-mounted safety. But the sights are good, so sights are a good thing. Simplicity of use is terrible because of the field strip. I can't get over that field stripping thing. I really hate the way it field strips. And other complications, I really hate magazine disconnects. I know several pistols have them, but I don't like them, so I think they're just a bad idea, and this one has one, so I don't like it. Oh, one other thing I didn't mention is this has a very high bore axis. Your hand is here, bullet's up here, so you're going to experience more muzzle flip with this than you would with a lot of pistols. So anyway, overall, I think it's a decent handgun. It would be serviceable for concealed carry, and really, you shouldn't need more than 9 rounds, so you'd probably be okay with the firepower this will give you. However, for the weight and the size, you can get, you know, a much higher capacity handgun, and you can get a much lighter handgun with more capacity for this size. So if I were going to choose, this isn't what I would choose, but if you can get one cheap, I wouldn't hesitate to go ahead and pick one up. This has been JC the Sniper's review of the Smith & Wesson Model 4013. JC the Sniper, signing off.